So in this video, I want to spend a few minutes talking about the Kaweco AC Sport ballpoint pen. I think most people watching this video will know about the Kaweco Sport pens. It's these little 8-sided pocketable pens, usually sold in a ballpoint or a gel roller, which is capped. And then there's also a fountain pen, which is also capped. This is the ballpoint variety, which is retractable. And the pen is typically sold, the Sport is typically sold in plastic, but it's also sold in brass, aluminum, and steel. This model is a sub-variant or whatever of the aluminum one. So instead of being like an AL, it's the AC, and that's the aluminum carbon. You could see it has these little carbon fiber stickers inset onto half the sides, and then also here at the top. And I believe it's real carbon fiber. It's just not functional carbon fiber. It's a tiny little veneer of carbon fiber that's stuck here to give the pen a really cool, racy look to it, a sporty look, if you will. The carbon fiber just doesn't really do anything. The body is all aluminum. The pen is primarily just the Kaweco aluminum Sport pen, the AL Sport, whatever they call it. Which is quite nice. It's a really nice pen. It is a retractable, so a push-button ballpoint, and that deviates from the more popular rollerball or the gel roller and the fountain pen of the same line because those are capped, so you could unscrew the cap, put it, post it on the back, and then what you get is a full-size pen. With a ballpoint, you have the button, push that down, and now you're stuck with an undersized pen. It's actually quite small. So this pen is 1, 2, 3, just about 4 inches long. Here's it next to, I would say, a full-size pen. You're losing close to 1.5 inches. So if you have the capped ones, like the fountain pen or the rollerball, you can cap them, have a full-size pen. This one, you're always stuck with something that's going to be uncomfortable for extended writing sessions. The pen itself uses a D1 refill, which you get at by unscrewing it. You could see there's that carbon fiber. It's quite nice. And here, I guess it actually serves a purpose here, whereas on the sides, it's aluminum. It's like embedded or into the aluminum. And the pen itself, you could see there's no carbon in there. It's all aluminum, so it really is just the stickers there. I will say that the pen has a cool little tip protector here, which I think is a steel, and it's a little bit harder of a metal than the aluminum, so it actually does serve a purpose. Back to that internal piece, we see the finial on top, some aluminum. Here's that little carbon fiber band. Here's just some plastic inner workings, a nice spring, a piece of brass for the mechanism. This goes up as the tip extends, and it goes back down as the tip retracts. And here we have a D1 refill. You get the Kaweco Soul 1.0 millimeter ballpoint refill when you buy this pen. And this is just pressed in here. It's pressed in really tight. I'm going to have trouble getting it out. But it's just a press fit into this sort of kind of a little clamp here. And if you tug it out, eventually it'll come. But it's a little bit hard to do on camera. The ballpoint Kaweco Soul is completely fine. It's a little bit plain. It doesn't work spectacularly well, but it lasts longer than the other pens. And it's a ballpoint, so it is quite versatile. This piece just screws in. You want to give it a little bit of a snug tight, which it can loosen on its own if you don't give it a nice tighten. And we can sort of test out the writing. So this is the Kaweco AC Sport. And this is just using that plain Jane Kaweco Soul, SOUL, D1 size refill. It's just a standard ballpoint refill. Nothing special about it. It's quite versatile. It lasts, a long time for a D1 refill, which is not very long. And it's a little bit light, as you'd expect from a standard old school ballpoint refill. But since it's a D1 standard, it's very easy to swap out for basically any refill you could want to use in here. And, it's a 2-minute job. So I definitely say if you like the pen, swap the refill, and you could definitely upgrade this. So I really like the Sport series from Kaweco. I use the fountain pen and the rollerball or the gel roller, whatever, a fair bit. The gel roller is confusing because it uses a Parker-style G2 refill, which is commonly associated with ballpoints, but this is actually the ballpoint pen. It's the only uncapped pen in the series. So out of all the pens, you have the plastic, which is just the Sport, then the AL Sport, which is aluminum, then the brass, and then the steel. The AC Sport is definitely not cheap. It's up there with the brass and the steel as being some of the more expensive ones, but you don't really get too many advantages because there's no structural carbon fiber. So you're really just buying a fancy aluminum pen. I don't buy a lot of aluminum pens, but I like this one because, first of all, the carbon looks really cool. It's not a faux carbon, just printed on. It is I believe it to be a real carbon, which is quite cool. And then the powder coating on this aluminum is really nice. It has this, mine has this champagne color, which I think is really sharp. It's available in a few other colors, I believe, but I really like this one. And it's just a really nice texture. Powder coating, as you probably know, is, it's smooth. It has a matte finish, but there's definitely some texture to it. And it's aluminum, which means there's some weight to it, but it's not heavy. I find the brass and steel pens in this series to be a little bit too heavy. I don't really like brass pens. I find them to be too heavy, and the steel one is even heavier than that. Plus, the steel ballpoint in the Sport series is something like, I think, $80 or $90. So it's getting to be pretty expensive for just steel, which doesn't have a lot of personality to me. So I like the aluminum, and I don't think you really, moving to the carbon doesn't add anything to it. It just looks a little bit cooler. Maybe it's a better gift or whatever. But I really like this finish. So that's, for me, a big positive here for this very cool pen. Like I said, I think the pen is probably, maybe it's not a great use of money as the carbon doesn't do too much, but it looks really cool and it's fun to use. It's something great to throw in a pocket or a bag. There's no clip, obviously. You can add the clip to it, and Kaweco sells a gold or silver clip for about $5 or $7. I don't use it here because I didn't want to, scratch up the carbon fiber, but I'm not sure if it would do any damage or not. But I haven't really found it necessary to have a clip because I really would just throw this one in the bottom of a bag or a pocket. Anyway, that's the Kaweco AC Sport. It's a lot of fun, maybe not a huge amount of value, but the combination of the classic Sport series with the aluminum build and then the rarity of the carbon fiber is something I found to be attractive. But I really do prefer something with the structural carbon fiber like the Tombow Zoom 101, which is really, I would say, even an upgrade from this. But the Kaweco has such a great following that it's hard not to get attracted to some of these pens. So I thought some people would find this interesting. Thanks for watching.